In most of America today, building something simple on your own land feels like launching a small space program. A cabin, a shed, or even an unconventional rainwater tank requires a permit, an inspection, 3 separate forms, and a man named Gary measuring your property with a clipboard. But Texas is different. While the rest of the country turned property ownership into a bureaucratic exercise, a few corners of the Lone Star State just didn't follow along. Scattered across Texas are entire counties so remote and stubbornly rural that building regulations never quite arrived. Out here, land is cheap, space is abundant, and off-grid living is just how things are. We are looking at 10 hidden counties where you can build your dream homestead. With minimal development pressure and maximum freedom, Hudspeth County lets start with the king of affordable land, Hudspeth County. Sitting along the Mexican border just east of El Paso, this massive desert expanse defines the word remote. Land prices here are incredibly low, with parcels frequently listed on platforms like Zillow between $300 and $1,500 per acre. The entire county holds only about 3,000 residents, meaning you can easily drive for 10 minutes through wide desert valleys and rugged mountains without seeing another car. This emptiness translates to zero development pressure and fewer building restrictions. However, the trade-offs are intense. The summer heat is brutal, and the ground consists of hard caliche clay, making traditional foundation digging and gardening a massive physical challenge. Furthermore, drilling a water well here is often financially impossible due to the extreme depth of the water table, forcing most homesteaders to rely on hauling water from town. But for cheap acreage, maximum solar power potential, and absolute silence, Hudspeth is unbeatable. Jeff Davis County. But what if you want that absolute freedom without the blistering lowland heat? Just a short drive away, the landscape completely shatters your expectations and introduces you to Jeff Davis County. This is where the landscape dramatically shifts into high-elevation terrain reminiscent of Colorado. The stunning Davis Mountains feature twisting canyon roads, crisp air, and cooler temperatures. Land carries a premium here, with prices ranging from $3,000 to $5,000 per acre. But you are buying cooler elevation and the darkest night skies in North America, home to the famous McDonald Observatory. This county has around 2,000 residents who value privacy and preservation. Off-grid builders need to prepare for rocky, sloped building sites that require creative engineering for cabins and solar arrays. Winters also bring genuine snowfall, a stark contrast to the rest of the state. It remains an ideal off-grid haven for homesteaders who want to escape the blistering Texas heat without sacrificing dramatic scenery and pure, undisturbed isolation. Valverde County, the biggest challenge of off-grid homesteading in West Texas, is water, which makes Valverde County an absolute game-changer. Situated further along the border, this county features the massive Amistad Reservoir, offering thousands of acres of open water right in the middle of a rugged desert. Rural land prices range from $1,200 to $3,500 per acre, while the city of Del Rio brings the total county population to 48,000. The unincorporated areas outside city limits remain wide, wild, and incredibly free. You get the rare combination of affordable acreage, low regulatory interference, and close proximity to reliable water and shoreline fishing. However, clearing the dense, thorny desert brush to establish a home site requires heavy machinery and serious labor. The presence of the lake also means rainwater harvesting is highly viable here compared to the hyper-arid regions further west. It is the perfect middle ground for anyone who wants an off-grid lifestyle without the constant anxiety of a dry well. Terrell County. While Valverde solves the off-grid water crisis, some purists want to push self-reliance to its absolute limit, trading water access for complete human isolation. That brings us to Terrell County. This rugged ranching outpost has a total population of just 750 people, making it one of the least populated places in the entire country. Land is highly affordable, with large remote tracts listing between $600 and $1,300 per acre. The county seat of Sanderson sits quietly along U.S. Route 90. But once you step off the blacktop, you enter an untouched world of deep canyons, dry rivers, and endless skies. There is virtually no cell service and zero development pressure here. Your nearest neighbors are miles away, and way too busy managing their massive ranches to notice your off-grid cabin. Building here means being completely on your own. A simple run for building supplies or groceries can easily consume an entire day. Terrell County offers no modern conveniences. Instead, it delivers raw silence, total self, and unmatched freedom from the modern world. Culberson County, if you love the desert but crave towering horizons rather than flat ranchland. The landscape abruptly erupts into limestone peaks in Culberson County, home to Guadalupe Peak, the highest point in the entire state of Texas. This massive county holds barely 2,000 residents. Despite boasting cinematic scenery that looks like a Hollywood Western movie set, most live near Van Horn, along Interstate 10, leaving the rest of the landscape entirely empty. Remote land parcels here are incredibly reasonable, averaging between $900 and $3,000 per acre, because there are no local building authorities outside the town limits. You can experiment with alternative building styles, like earthships or container homes. However, you must respect the climate. High winds sweep through these canyons regularly, requiring off-grid structures and solar panels to be heavily anchored. The isolation is real and services are severely limited. But the lack of local building codes and the abundance of year-round sunshine make it an exceptional location for an independent solar-powered homestead. Presidio County. Moving further south into Big Bend country, Presidio County offers a fascinating blend of open ranchland and quirky desert culture. The county has around 6,000 residents, split between the border town of Presidio and Marfo, famous art world oasis known for its mysterious desert lights and high-end galleries. Outside these tiny hubs, the county consists of endless dry valleys, rolling hills, and total solitude. Land prices remain highly approachable, generally falling between $500 and $2,000 per acre, depending on road access. Off-grid life here requires an iron will, as summer temperatures frequently exceed 100 degrees Fahrenheit for weeks on end. Solar systems must be robust enough to handle heavy air conditioning loads, or cabins must be built using high thermal mass materials like adobe to naturally regulate temperature. The reward for enduring this unforgiving sun is cheap land, beautiful sunsets, and an unspoken local pact where people simply leave each other alone to live exactly how they choose. Pecos County. If you want to transition to off-grid living without completely cutting ties with civilization, Pecos County provides a highly functional balance to the intense isolation of the deep desert. With a population of 15,000, this area feels busy compared to its neighbors, mostly centered around Fort Stockton stores, restaurants, and medical facilities. However, the moment you leave the highway, you are surrounded by classic West Texas ranch country. Remote rural acreage here is priced between $700 and $2,200 per acre. The landscape features dry hills and vast desert plains stretching to the horizon. For the off-grid builder, the flatter terrain makes delivering building materials and setting up a homestead much easier than in the mountainous counties. While you still enjoy total code freedom in the unincorporated spaces, having a Walmart or a hardware store within an hour's drive drastically reduces the stress of homestead construction. It represents an ideal compromise for those keeping basic supply runs within a reasonable distance. Brewster County. From manageable supply runs, we move to a county so colossally massive, it completely redefines the scale of open space. Brewster County. As the single largest county in Texas, it is so large that you can drive 4 hours and barely scratch the surface. Fewer than 10,000 people live here, mostly in the lively desert town of Alpine. This county serves as the majestic gateway to Big Bend National Park, which protects over 800,000 acres of pristine wilderness. Untamed off-grid land tracts without utilities cost roughly $700 to $2,500 per acre. The geography varies wildly from flat desert floors to ancient volcanic formations. This structural variety means your off-grid build could be tucked into a private canyon or perched on a scenic ridge. Living here requires adapting to intense summer heat, freezing winter nights, and vast distances. However, the sheer scale of the landscape ensures you can find an affordable, unrestricted pocket of land where the dramatic mountain views and profound quiet feel like an entirely different version of America. Kinney County. Moving out of the massive western wilderness, we slip into a hidden, densely brushed pocket where the desert begins to soften. Kinney County. tucked quietly between the desert borderlands and the fertile edge of the Texas Hill Country. The population hovers around 3,000 people, mostly centered in the slow-paced town of Breck. Outside town, the landscape transitions into miles of rolling brush country, thick mesquite, and historic ranch lands. Land prices here are a bit higher due to the richer vegetation and increased rainfall, typically averaging $2,000 to $4,000 per acre. For the off-grid homesteader, the thick mesquite and cedar brush provide excellent natural privacy and camouflage for a hidden cabin. The soil is slightly more forgiving for small-scale gardening, and rainwater collection is far more dependable here than in the far western Sahara. With basic amenities in nearby Del Rio, Kinney County is ideal for those who want a secluded, rural lifestyle without feeling completely disconnected. Edwards County. Our final stop takes us completely out of the brush and into the crown jewel of classic Texas scenery, Edwards County. Perched elegantly on the western edge of the famous Texas Hill Country, this is the landscape people envision when they think of classic Texas: rugged limestone cliffs, deep oak-covered valleys, and winding spring-fed rivers, because it is highly prized for its beautiful scenery and abundant hunting land. Prices are the highest on our list, ranging from $2,500 to $5,000 per acre. Only 1,400 people live here, centered around the slow-moving ranching town of Rock Spring. The terrain features gorgeous live oaks and limestone formations, which look incredible but require heavy drilling equipment if you plan to install a traditional foundation or set. Compared to the crowded subdivisions closer to Austin or San Antonio, Edwards County remains completely quiet, offering unrestricted acreage, fewer tourists, and a peaceful, slow daily rhythm that feels like stepping back in time. 10 hidden counties, all sharing one timeless Texas quality: space measured in miles, not square feet. From the harsh desert valleys of Hudspeth to the lush limestone valleys of Edwards, these are the places where development pressure never arrived, and where people still prefer to leave each other alone, off-grid. Living here isn't always easy. The summers are blistering, the ground is hard, and convenience is a luxury. But that is exactly what keeps these places special. Development follows comfort. And because these counties never became comfortable enough to attract the masses, they remain wild and free. If you are ready for a lifestyle where the sky is bigger, the roads are emptier, and building your dream homestead doesn't begin with a mountain of permit paperwork, Texas is waiting. Which of these counties would you choose for your off-grid cabin? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe for more raw land tours.